Dennis, tell us about this this very important work, and congratulations. It is remarkable what you're accomplishing here.
Well, this is the most important work of my life in some ways. I look at my work as parents look at their children in a healthy situation, which thank God I have. I love my children equally, but of course they're all unique. So in some ways, it truly is the most important. Certainly the thing I've devoted the most time to, writing what's called a commentary. I think the better word is an explanation of the first 5 books of the Bible known as the Torah. And people need to understand that is those are the foundational 5 books of the whole Old Testament and the New Testament. No Torah, no Judaism, no Torah, no Christianity, no Torah, no Old Testament, no Torah, no New Testament. Every law of the Bible is in the Torah. Everything that, excuse me, everything that people value, the 10 Commandments, the Garden of Eden, the creation story. I mean, it's love your neighbor as yourself, love God. It's all in the Torah. Everything blossoms from there. However, if you just pick it up and read it, it is very hard to understand, as is true of much of the Bible. We need people to help us through what is really meant here. And I don't care if people begin with Genesis or Exodus or Numbers, which is coming out now, or Deuteronomy. It doesn't matter. Each volume stands on its own. It does not build on the preceding volume. And the number of important themes in every one of these books. I'm crazy about the book of Numbers. People,
I am too.
When you ask people, what's in it, most people don't even have a clue. And I don't blame them. And the name is so boring in any event. Who would want to know what's in the book of Numbers? The Hebrew is the really sexy name, in the wilderness.
I know. And Dennis, I have to interrupt. It is one of my passions in life to get Christians to accurately name the book of Numbers in the wilderness.
You know what? You may succeed if you are so young. If you keep doing that and live as long as I have, I hope you do it. It's a silly name, Numbers. I understand why it's there, because a census is taken, a few censuses, but so what? The Hebrew, it tells it much better. But by the way, John, let me give the English some kudos. The Hebrew for Exodus is just as boring as Numbers in English.
It's names, right?
Yeah, names.
Exodus comes from the Greek ex hodos, which means the way out. And so I'm so glad we did not name the second book of the Bible Names.
No, exactly right. But it is in the wilderness. So a couple of the themes, and people will realize why I think this work is so important and life-changing. So for example, in the book, I'm going to try to get the quote exactly here. Let me turn to it. Yeah. So in the book, let's see. Yeah. In 11:5, chapter 11, verse 5, the Israelites or Hebrews or Jews, however you want to refer to them, they say, we remember they're rebelling against Moses again. We remember the fish we used to eat free in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. It is almost impossible, Charlie, to overstate the relevance and importance of that verse. We rather eat for free as slaves than work for food as free people. People, this is one of the themes of my life. Liberty is not a human yearning. To be taken care of is a human yearning.
Now, Dennis, did you have that view before COVID, that freedom is a value? Did you, because I don't remember, I've listened to you, as you know, I've listened to hundreds of hours of you. It seems around COVID that became more pronounced.
Oh, there's no question. Yeah. Charlie, you should definitely, if you're bored 40 years from now, consider writing a synopsis of Dennis Prager's ideas. Nobody knows them better than you do. I'm really honored to say, by the way. But anyway, yeah, you're probably right, and so it's really perfect that I should have been writing numbers at that time. But this is so huge that if people understand this, that's why liberty is one of the three values on American coins. As you know, I call it the American Trinity: liberty, in God we trust, e pluribus unum. The founders of the country, whom I consider the greatest assembly of men in the history of the world. There were great individuals before them, but an assembly of such great men at one time in one place, I don't believe existed anywhere else but America in 1776. And they understood. They really got it. They understood that liberty is a value, that it isn't an instinct. And by the way, it explains why the left wins elections all over the world and always does, because they don't promise you freedom. They promise you goodies. Liberty is a value, not an instinct. The instinct is to be taken care of, and that's based on this very profound lament of the Hebrews. It was better in Egypt. We had better food. Of course, we were slaves, but so what? That's what they're saying. So what? We were slaves. We got free food, and that's the great trade-off that the left makes. You give us your soul, you give us your liberty, we'll give you goodies, and most people vote for that. With regard to children, what you come to realize, and this is also relatively recent in my life. This one's not lockdown related, but it is relatively recent, that so much of what we thought in the past was instinctive, like having children. If you'd have asked anyone in history, is having a child a value or an innate desire / instinct? Of course what are you kidding? Of course it's innate. That's what people want. They want children. People divorced, kings divorced women if they didn't have children, even though it wasn't the wife's fault. They wanted children. What is it? Rachel says, Rachel says to her husband in Genesis, if you don't give me children, it's not worth living, which is a silly comment, but nevertheless, that's how people regarded it. The fact is, almost everything is a choice. Belief in God is a value, is a choice. Some people have it instinctively, just like some people want children instinctively. But for most people, I'm one of them. I chose to believe in God, and now I do. It was one of the great choices of my life. It is utterly life-changing and fulfilling. But marriage, I'm sure, even though it's way before your time, love and marriage go together like a horse and carriage.
Yes.
Right. That was the way people in the 1950s and 1850s and 1750s and so on backwards, that's the way they felt. Love and marriage go together like a horse and carriage. But that's not true anymore. Love does not go with marriage anymore. I love her. Why should I marry her? I love him. Why should I marry him? It's too big a burden, and it's not worth it. It's just a piece of paper. By the way, I have a great line, Charlie. I wonder if you've heard this because you've heard me so much. But whenever guys say to women that they're dating, 5 years, and she said, I think we should get married. Oh, it's just a piece of paper. To which I've always told women to say to this man, if it's just a piece of paper, what's the big deal about signing it?
That is such a good point. So then what's the big deal? If it's just a big paper, then let's just sign it.